Alright, so I dressed the shaft a little bit with some emery cloth just so that it comes apart okay when we finally pull the motor apart. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to rewire all this just yet. We'll see what happens. This is, it's fairly pliable, so if we can be a little careful with it, we'll see what happens. We're going to have to take that one step at a time. The real next deal is going to be to try to get the grills off on the back. The grill on the back. So I'm going to work on it. You know, obviously you can bang on it and push on it and destroy the fan, but that's what we're going to try not to do. On the front here you can see someone had to pry pretty hard on it to get it apart. I have already hit the little ends with a little WD-40, so hopefully it moistens it up enough that it'll want to move. We'll see what happens. Alright, the rear grill is out. Took a little prying. I used a flathead screwdriver and a piece of wood to push against and get leverage. And the wood, this is a pretty soft piece of wood. It's just a shim for your floor when you're doing furniture and stuff. It's soft wood, so it took the hits, as you can see, and that way the fan case doesn't take the hit. Also, the PB blaster didn't really work on that. It wasn't until I sprayed it with this stuff I got from my brother. I used this on the hubs to get the blades off. BG in force, and this stuff is seems to work really well. It's not the kind of thing you leave it to sit. It seems to work within a couple of minutes. I think Eric was saying that it's either going to work in a couple of minutes or it's not. So I just sprayed a little on each of these and they popped out. Took a little force, but it worked. And the PB blaster didn't quite get me there. So there you go. Here's pretty much the dirtiest part of the fan on here is the back cover. You know, somebody had wiped this up a few times over the years because it's clear they were able to get the front grill off, but they weren't able to get the rear grill. Here's these little fitting sleeves for the grill. It's very interesting how they did that. The other one has it too, the square bladed one. So anyway, we're going to start doing a little clean. So here's that rear mount that was never touched by anything except dust, and it looks pretty darn good. The rest of the fan's not going to clean up that pretty, but I'll tell you, I don't think the paint's any nicer on a 57 Chevy. So anyway, that looks pretty cool. We'll continue cleaning and make our move on the motor, try and clean the motor out. We'll see what happens like that. Like I said, I'm not sure if we'll be able to do that easily and passively, or if we'll have to pull the motor, rewire it. You know, we'll see if any wiring breaks, if it's pliable enough to move. We'll see what happens. Another interesting thing to note on this fan, and the other Galaxy, the Grandpa Galaxy is like this too. They use these sheet metal nuts, these shitty little sheet metal deals to hold the motor onto the frame here. Not sure why they do that. Not sure if I'm going to reuse them. When I redid this guy, I put fresh nuts from my stash with lock washers, and I might do that to this. I mean, why not upgrade a little bit? I mean, we're not restoring this thing. So that's the plan. Let's take the motor down. Alright, did a little cleaning before we tackle the motor. Got some of the dirt and dust and grime out of it. You know, here on the stand as well. Yeah, again, we got some rust and stuff, but it's otherwise cleaning up okay. And let's get to the motor. Boy, that motor weighs a ton. This thing is nothing without the motor in it. Interesting. So, all right, let's see what happens with this thing. All right, interesting thing to notice here is that the fan motor says something different than what the sticker on the fan itself said from Lasko. The RMR motor says 2.5 to 1.5 amps at 115. That's not what the other one said, 2.8, so they're giving you a little more. And then on we're not even running 120 here. I was getting 126 in the building, so we're running a bit higher. But everybody seems to think, no big deal. We're definitely going to lose this sticker. I'm going to try and peel it off using a knife deal, but I think we're going to lose this sticker. Maybe the smart thing would be just, it's not even attached in the center, so we'll see what happens. Alright, we ran outside and popped the motor open and got the dust out of it. As you can see, we broke the sticker. It has a marking here, 78D, but we certainly know that this isn't that late a fan, so that's probably not a date of any kind. I did see one other marking, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. We're going to clean it off. We got the rotor here. The rotor does not look good. That's pretty whack. I haven't cleaned anything off of it. You'll see if that's dirty oil or if it's really that discolored. Let's find out. Alright, we're here with the RMR motor. The wiring's okay. It's a little squished here, but there's no opening. That's all. That's better than it looks. Pretty substantial windings. We have the sprayed in, you can't really see that, but we have the sprayed in felt material that they do. And I'm just going to put some oil on that and put some oil on the shafts. Not a big deal. This is going to be a constant use fan. There's a really interesting video on YouTube. I don't know if any of you have seen it. The guy, I don't know if he's really a fan collector, but the guy found a Galaxy like this with the RMR motor closer to my square corner one, and he did a full rebuild on it, repainted the thing, didn't use the right colors, that's a whole other thing. But what he did is he drilled out the rivets, took this whole mechanism apart, and there's like a spring inside that holds the bearing in, and he made a new felt out of sponges and stuffed it all in there. It wasn't entirely clear if he got it oiled when he put it back together, because you got to oil the shaft too when you put it back together. He didn't make it entirely clear if he had done all that. It didn't have a great spin down, but it was interesting to see the amount of effort he put into rebuilding the felt area. And it was a lot of work, and then, you know, once you've drilled out all the rivets, he had to use then tiny little bolts and screws and washers to hold it all back onto the casing. Interesting idea, a lot more work than I think I would go into it, but I think he was planning on using it full use, you know, full-time use rebuild. But we have a couple of stand fans, so I don't think I'm going to be using this all the time. But the bearings are cleaned out. We took a look at the rotor here, and I hit it with some steel wool. There's a little pitting there you can see. Yeah, you got some pitting on the shaft there. And the backside I didn't do as much, but it's smooth, it's just not pretty. And we got all the washers on there. So this is about ready to reassemble. We'll see what happens.